Part 88. The Koi Fairy Wife is Sweet as Honey, Love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhezhi. Chapter 872. Jinli was really hungry. Although she doesn't have the capacity for alcohol that an alcoholic should have, she has a heart that loves wine. Otherwise, can I get drunk out of my body and drink from the sky to the mortal world? Especially now, when everyone is drinking. The air is full of intoxicating fragrance. Jinli felt that he was a little smoked before he even started drinking. She heard that others were speaking for herself, and she became more courageous. Although she is not quite sure what she will become when she is drunk, because she finds that she seems to react differently every time she gets drunk. But anyway, Lu Zhenjie is here. He will never let anything happen to him. Thinking like this, the little fairy instantly became confident. She turned around and looked at Lu Zhenjie without blinking. I think they're right. Lu Zhenjie raised his eyebrows. Huh. Jinli, there are so many people here, I'm sure nothing will happen to me. And, the most important thing is, you are here. She said seriously, with you here, no matter what happens, I don't need to worry, right? Such a straightforward trust almost entered Lu Zhenjie's heart. With you here, I don't have any worries. Lu Zhenjie sighed, and said helplessly, go ahead and drink, we've talked about this, if I refuse, even I feel cruel. The people around were already yelling, it's incredible, this love story. I only attended one wedding today, why did I have to be abused twice? Hey, when will Guojia send me a cute little girl to be my girlfriend? Jinli no longer cared what these people were saying. Lu Zhenjie agreed to let the fish drink. What are you waiting for? Her hand quickly touched the glass of wine, she picked it up, brought it to her lips, narrowed her eyes, and gently sniffed the wine. Fragrant. Then, drink it up. Hey, why are you drinking like this? Su Hexiang didn't even have time to stop, dumbfounded. After drinking a glass of wine, Jinli's eyes widened. The scorching air flowed into the stomach along the throat, and another hotter fire ignited from the stomach and burned to the whole body. Her eyes suddenly changed. From the clear water to the spirit, it suddenly became blurred. Herp! Jinli hiccuped. Everyone is looking at her. Everyone was curious about how Jinli would react after drinking a glass of wine. A minute passed. Jinli just sat there without responding. The big man who persuaded him to drink earlier said, hey, Mr. Lu, you are wrong. I don't think Jinli has any reaction at all. It's just pouring a glass. Before Lu Zhenjie could speak, Jinli raised his head and stared at this man sternly. What did you say? She glared at the man fiercely, who pours a cup? Little fairies don't know how to pour a cup. Man. He glanced at Jinli, not sure if she was drunk or not. After thinking about it, he pointed at Lu Zhenjie, your boyfriend said, you can't drink. Hearing this, Jinli followed the direction of his fingers and looked at Lu Zhenjie who was sitting beside her. The handsome face came into her eyes, and she stared at the beauty for a long time with admiration, feeling that the beauty looked familiar. But that's not important for now. Jinli turned her head and looked at the man who spoke accusingly, very angry, you not only speak badly, but also slander people. That person. Jinli pointed at Lu Zhenjie, how can such a good-looking person say that little fairies don't know how to drink? 6 more finished. The drunk Xiaoxianyu's 6 relatives do not recognize 23,333. Ask for a monthly ticket. Ask for a monthly ticket. See you in the morning. The Koi Fairy Wife is Sweet as Honey, Love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhezhi. Chapter 873. That person. What's the matter? I don't look good, so I don't have human rights? What kind of heartless world is this? But as soon as these words came out, he really knew that the person in front of him was probably really drunk. A sober person would probably not be able to say such a thing. He is a big man, how can he care about such a little girl, the key is such a drunk woman. So the man was stunned for a second, and chose to give up. Okay, it's an ugly man like me who speaks badly. After he finished speaking, he smiled, and said to Lugenja, Mr. Lu is indeed right, the rumored cup is poured. Everyone had never seen Jinli like this, and now they felt that, apart from being a little prettier than themselves, celebrities were no different from ordinary people. You can also get drunk, and you can still be stupid when you are drunk. Everyone laughed in good faith. Then, the drunk fish gets upset. She first looked at the man who was talking to her before. How do you talk, who pours a glass? This person. However, Jinli didn't seem to be reluctant. After saying this, he didn't wait for his answer, and looked around the crowd again. And you, don't think that the little fairy can't see that you are laughing at me. Everyone. Actually we didn't, we really just laughed. But Jinli's serious and drunken appearance was so cute that a group of old men who had been single for a long time found it rare and couldn't help laughing. Jinli. Still laughing? You are still laughing, she was annoyed. Suhexiang was also laughing. She had never seen Jinli like this. She asked Lugenja, Jinli, did she do this before? Lugenja must have seen Jinli drunk, otherwise he wouldn't have said that Jinli poured it out of a glass. Lugenja shook his head, I've been drunk before, but this is the first time I've seen him like this. Suhexiang understood the meaning of his words. You mean, the reaction is different when drunk? That's really a bit strange. The conversation between the two was not loud, and the surroundings were in a mess, most of the people didn't hear it. But Jinli heard it. She turned her head and found the two people who spoke ill of her. After scanning Lugenja and Suhexiang. It looks pretty good. Never mind. For the sake of your good looks, I don't care about you. She retargeted the group of humans who laughed at her. You. She pointed at these people, and, thought she, said slowly and very aura, you dare to be a little fairy, you need to pay the price. Everyone giggled, wow, I'm so scared, what price will I have to pay? Obviously threatening people is not something a fish is good at. She tilted her head to think for a while, and finally decided, let's fight. Everyone. Suhexiang. You Manluo/Fan Sheng couple. Lugenja. Everyone was silent for a moment, and said quickly, it's no big deal, let's change the game. Although this group of people usually fight a lot, they are all dealing with thorns and hooligans. How could they deal with such a delicate little girl? Jinli frowned, you don't like fighting. Chapter 1, Don't ask me, I don't know what happened, anyway, there is only one chapter, there are no more. Beep beep. See you in the morning. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Koi Fairy Wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Sushao Zhaji. Chapter 874. Everyone, yes. We don't like fighting. Jinli frowned even tighter. Lugenja said slowly behind him, fighting is too rude, and it's not aesthetically pleasing, it's not good looking. When Jinli heard this, he thought it made sense. Then. She thought for a while, and then suggested, let's compare beauty. Everyone. Yu Manluo suppressed a smile and said, there's no need to compare, you are the most beautiful. Of course I know, Jinli said proudly, I must be the most beautiful. I'm just kidding. Isn't it bullying to compare your beauty with you? She raised her little head, looking extremely proud. Everyone watched, their hearts trembled because of the cuteness, and at the same time, they felt that Mr. Lu simply saved the world in his previous life, otherwise how could he find such a cute little fairy as his girlfriend? It was still Yumanluo who said, "Jinli, you are the most beautiful, there is no need to compare, or let Mr. Lu send you to rest." Jinli looked drunk, so it would be better to ask Mr. Lu to take her to the room and ask the hotel to send her something to hang over later. Jinli shook her head slowly, "No, I haven't taught these people who laughed at me a lesson. I'm not leaving." She stared at Yumanluo, and snorted dissatisfied, "Don't think I don't know, you are with them, and you are speaking for them. But forget it, who made you look good and have a baby? The little fairy is not as knowledgeable as you." She recalled what she had seen, and said in a very domineering tone, "Woman, it's none of your business here, you go away." Yumanluo. Lu Zhenjia looked at the drunken fish's unwillingness to give up and couldn't say anything, and felt that this couldn't go on like this. If this continues, the whole afternoon will be spent here. Moreover, I don't know if Jinli will do something even more outrageous later. He gave a suggestion, "Why don't you draw cards to compare the size?" Everyone looked at him. Lu Zhenjia only looked at Jinli, the big number wins, and the winner can punish the loser. How about a request? Everyone thinks it's okay. Jinli didn't think so. She frowned, trying to reject this unfair operation. Although she was drunk, she still had self-awareness. In this kind of thing, isn't it the little fairies who bully humans? This kind of thing that requires luck, who can compare with koi? However, Lu Zhenjia was shameless. Realizing that Jinli wanted to refuse, he quickly got up, walked to her side, and bowed his head. The man's breath lingered between her breaths. There was heat in her ears. "Jinli, let's end the game early and go back to swim." Swimming. Jinli's eyes lit up. Of course, the most important thing is, she looked at the beauty who was so close in front of her, her eyebrows, her outline, she was familiar and beautiful. Oh, the damned little fairy can't resist the charm. She shook her head and took a step back, trying to stay away from the guy who played the trick. "You, speak well and stay away from me," she said sternly, not serious. "Everyone. What blinded my dog's eyes? I just couldn't see it." Lu Zhenjia just smiled lowly. In Jinli's eyes, his appearance suddenly changed. His hair became longer, his silver-gray pupils were deep and mysterious, and his appearance became more beautiful and stunning. She widened her eyes, You. Shall we play a game? The koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the koi goddess. Author, Sushao Zhaji. Chapter 875. Can Jinli say no to such a beautiful woman? That must be impossible. If she could refuse, how could she have the nerve to call herself the #1 beauty controller in the 3 realms? So the little fairy was led by Lu Zhenjia and sat on the table in a daze. There are brand new cards on the table. Others also sat on the other side with a smile. As soon as Jinli realized it, she was heartbroken. Oh, beauty fools people. But she agreed to everything. What can she do now? Of course, she could only seriously say to these people, "Forget it, I will show mercy later and won't make excessive demands." Father Tiandao can testify. The little fairy's words really came from kindness, and there was no hint of arrogance at all. But what she said was clearly arrogant. Among the people sitting here today, except for a few who really can't drink due to physical reasons, who hasn't had a few glasses of wine just now? Now that he heard Jinli's words, he immediately jumped up, so crazy. "Brother Huzi, I haven't lost in this game for so many years." You, who was scolded by your sister-in-law for half an hour last year. Hey. That's a mistake. A mistake. Jinli knocked on the table impatiently, "Stop talking nonsense, hurry up. Whoever comes first. Let's go back early." She remembers that when the work here is over, she will go back to swim. The feeling of soaking in the water is really beautiful when I think of it. "I'll come first," A man sat down first on the opposite chair. Jinli glanced at him, but had no impression. "You smoke first," she said. The man frowned. "I won't take advantage of you, you go first." Jinli. "Listen, what are you talking about?" She was upset again. "Do I just like to take advantage of you?" She stared at the man. "You first." "That person." He couldn't help it, he groped for a while, and drew a card. Jinli touched one casually. "This is not a serious occasion, and there is no money to be played, it is just a small game, and naturally there are no serious rules. After the two draw, they can show their cards." The man casually flashed his cards. Heart Q. According to the rules of Hangzhou, the card numbers from small to large are 3, 4, 5, 6. J, Q, K, A, 2, and finally Xiao Wang and Da Wang. Heart Q, this number is not small. The man looked at Jinli with some complacency. Jinli slowly opened his cards. Heart K. Big U, she said with a smile. Sitting next to her, Lu Zhenjia said with a smile, "Now, it's up to you to instruct him to do something." Jinli tilted her head and thought for a while, then asked, "I just heard that you are married, is your wife here?" The man shook his head, and when he mentioned his wife, there was a little smile in his eyes, and he said, "She didn't come, it's my child's grandma's birthday, she took the child there first, and I'll go at night." "That's it," Jinli said straightforwardly, "call her and tell her that you love her." Man. His face turned red all of a sudden. This. He claimed to be a gentleman, and the two had been married for several years. They were very passionate when they were in love, but after marriage, especially after the birth of the child, there was almost no such nasty conversation. After being stunned for a moment, everyone burst into laughter. "This is good, this is good. Brother Huze, don't be cowardly. Come on. 3 more. See you this afternoon." The Koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the Koi goddess. Author, Sushao Zheji. Chapter 876. Huze panicked with embarrassment. "I'm really ashamed." He couldn't remember how long it had been since he had said this to his wife. Especially today, in front of so many brothers. But the rules of the game have been promised long ago. Besides, Jinli was right, this was really not a difficult task. Could there be anything simpler than saying "I love you" to my wife? Under the urging of everyone, he dialed the phone. The phone was picked up quickly. The crowd urged on the side. "Brother Huze, turn on the speakerphone." "That's right, let's hear it." Huze glared at these guys, but didn't let them succeed. "You should have heard the commotion from here, but I can't hear the details." His wife asked, "Are you drinking together?" "There are a lot of people, right?" Yahuzi, I nodded. His wife warned, "Then when you come here, you must remember to find a replacement driver, and drinking and driving is not allowed." Tiger hummed again. "My wife, I..." He got stuck on the edge of his mouth. His wife was very surprised. "What's the matter? What's the matter? You speak so hesitantly." There was a clear voice in my ear, "Dad." It was the voice of Huze's youngest son, and then he heard his wife and son talking. There seemed to be a lot of people over there, and everyone was asking if it was Huze's call and when he would come. A smell of fireworks. Huze's heart suddenly calmed down. He said softly, "Wife, I love you." The other end of the phone suddenly fell silent. After a while, his wife asked with some uncertainty, "What did you just say?" Huze repeated again, "Honey, I love you." Asterisk. The other side. Sitting in his aunt's arms, the little boy looked at his mother strangely. "Mom, why are your eyes red?" The woman blinked her eyes hard, and glared at her son. "Where is it red? Nonsense." Little boy. He clearly saw it. Mother is lying. Before the woman could speak, she heard cheers from the opposite cell phone. Before the previous emotion was over, she suddenly reacted, her feverish mind regained her composure. Are you playing some kind of game? When guessing this possibility, it is impossible not to be disappointed. The unexpected "I love you" really made her heart beat faster like a girl with a spring. Husey admitted honestly, yes. The woman breathed a sigh of relief, and her tone calmed down. Okay, don't play too crazy, It's true to play games, and it's true to want to say this to you. The unfinished word stuck in his mouth and stopped. The little boy looked at his mother strangely. Mom is smiling so happily, will Dad bring her candy? Asterisk. Husey hung up the phone. The brothers around gave thumbs up one by one. I can't tell, Husey, it's okay to talk about love. Sister-in-law must be in a particularly good mood today. Maybe next year we will all have Sister Dun Dun, ha ha ha. Dun Dun is the nickname of Hughes's son. I kind of understand why Hughes's sons are both 3 years old when they are the same age, but I'm still single. Husey blushed. Go. He looked at Jinli. Am I good enough? Jinli heard the conversation between the husband and wife clearly, narrowed his eyes and laughed. Go down. Who's next? She asked. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Koi Fairy Wife is Sweet as Honey, Love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Sushao Zheji. Chapter 877. Sitting on the side, Lu Zhenjie just watched Jinli start killing all directions. This was something he had expected a long time ago, and he didn't even move his eyes. Others were not so calm, especially those brothers of Fan Sheng. Once or twice is fine, but 10 times and 8 times, no matter how big or small other people's numbers are, they can always hold steady. What kind of luck is this? If it weren't for Jinli's 2 hands on the table without moving, and the white arms exposed in the sleeveless dress, it would be impossible to do anything, and they would all wonder if this man was cheating. But after thinking about it, playing a game costs thousands of dollars, isn't that sick? Well, it's not out of money, but is it really so awesome? Damn it! The contemporary god of gamblers, a person murmured. Some people also responded when they got here. Hey, I remembered. I watched a little bit of that show before. It's called The Koi is Coming. Jinli is also there. I remember that. You are very lucky. Do you still remember Jinli? She remembers a ball right now. But this does not prevent her from hearing others praise herself, and thinks what this person said is very reasonable. The man immediately went on to say, I read a little bit at that time, and thought it was too nonsense, so I didn't read any more. He looked at Jinli with some embarrassment. So, your show can't be real, right? Is there really no inside story? Are you so awesome just relying on luck? The fish didn't like to hear that. Jinli rolled her eyes in an inelegant way. The inside story? I want to win something. Do I still need the inside story? Everyone looked at the cards in front of her and felt that the big boss was different. They are ordinary people who say big things are called bragging. Big boss bragging can become reality. At this moment, Lu Zhenjie felt that it was almost done. He pressed Jinli's hand and said softly, they were all bullied by you, should they calm down now? Let's go back and rest, shall we? People who were bullied. They said they were miserable, but in fact, the little fairy didn't mention any excessive reasons at all. It's just that they really don't think there is any need to continue playing game. There are comings and goings, there are wins and losses, that's what makes it interesting. It's really boring that Jinli has been killing all by himself. Jinli also felt that it was almost done, and nodded, okay, go back and rest. Lu Zhenjie greeted everyone and pulled Jinli away. Jinli looked at the hand stretched out in front of her, and glanced at Lugenja with some confusion. Logically speaking, the little fairy should not casually go with others. But this person looks a little familiar, and he doesn't look like a bad person. The most important thing is that this person is really good looking. The hands are also good looking, like white jade. Compared with the little fairy, it's just a little bit worse. Tisk, it must feel comfortable. Thinking about it this way, Jinli felt that the deal was a good deal. She reservedly put her hand up, let Lugenja hold it, and walked outside. My head is a little dizzy, and my feet are a little soft, like stepping on cotton. But Jinli didn't think it was a bad feeling, and it was even a little fun. She smiled and walked softly, and was led to the room by Lugenja. Lugenja asked her to sit on the sofa by herself. "Drink water?" he asked. Jinli shook her head. "I want to drink spiritual juice." "Pretty picky." Lugenja shook his head and brought her a glass of fresh fruit juice. "There is no spiritual juice, drink this." "5 more, look outside, it's not dark yet, so it's afternoon. It's the 5th watch today, and it will be the 5th watch in the next few days. I want to save the manuscript. See you in the morning." The Koi Fairy Wife is Sweet as Honey, Love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Sushao Zhaji. Chapter 878. Jinli didn't say anything, just took it by herself and took a sip. Before she could swallow it, she spat it all out with a poof. She frowned, unhappy, astringent, greasy, unpalatable. Lugenja took the cup in her hand and took a sip. It is a very pure fruit juice, and the taste is considered top grade in the world. Usually, at Jinli's house, Lanting squeezed it by herself. It seems that this fish not only refused to recognize his relatives when he was drunk, but also became very squeamish. "I want to drink spiritual juice," Jinli said. Lugenja said helplessly, "No." Jinli turned her gaze around. "Then I want to drink." Lugenja. He looked at the person in front of him suspiciously, thinking to himself, Jinli's real purpose was not to drink, so she gave an excuse to drink spirit juice, right? But when he looked carefully, Jinli's eyes were blurred and lazy, and he didn't look like he would make excuses to deceive people. He said, "There's no wine either." Humph. Jinli turned her head away, not wanting to talk to him anymore. "The little fairy is angry, it doesn't help that you look good." Lugenja thought for a while and said, "Taking a bath." He knew that Jinli liked to take a bath. Sure enough, Jinli was a little moved when he heard this. Seeing her like this, Lugenja laughed heartily. Sure enough, she's still so easy to coax. He got up and went to the bathroom to fill Jinli with water. Jinli sat on the sofa, staring at the sound of rushing water from the bathroom next door, staring blankly, not knowing what to think. After a while, she suddenly frowned. The next moment, the body on the sofa suddenly turned into a silver light and disappeared. Lugenja, who was about to walk out of the bathroom, said. Afraid that the drunk fish would cause trouble, he didn't dare to delay, turning into a ray of light and chasing after him. Jinli stood in the corridor. This is obviously a hotel, but the environment is not very good. The lights in the corridors are dim, and the corners of the walls are full of stains. People kept passing by and talking in the corridors, but Jinli didn't want to be disturbed right now, so these people ignored her. Jinli looked at the doors of each room, tilted his head to confirm, and walked towards a certain room. Yu's mother and Yu's aunt live here. Most of the villains bully the weak and fear the strong, domineering like an ant, and when they meet those ferocious big men, they are too frightened to fart. After they were kicked out of the hotel, the third child also released a classic villain speech. If I were you, I would be more honest. That is to say, you are lucky. Today is our boss's big day. If you offend my sister-in-law, the boss will bear it. If it were normal, believe it or not, you can only stand upright. Leaving Hung Joe sideways. It is simply a blatant threat. But damn, it works. Yu's mother was still not reconciled, but Yu's aunt was frightened, and she was about to go back holding her grandson. But today is definitely too late. Both of them didn't have any money, so they picked and found this inexpensive hotel with a reasonable price-performance ratio to temporarily stay. If the two wanted to save money, they would naturally live in a double room. The aunt of the Yu family slept with the child, and the mother of Yu slept in a bed alone. The grandson of the great aunt of the Yu family started to make troubles from the moment he entered the house. He complained that he was not feeling well, wanted to eat, went out to play, and cried when he couldn't make him happy. Aunt Yu is domineering to others, but she loves this old Yu family root to the bottom of her heart. She will give and take what she asks, and she agrees when her grandson wants to sit on her back and ride a horse. The koi fairy wife is sweet as honey, love from the koi goddess. Author, Sushao. Chapter 879. Yu's mother looked at the old woman who was over 50 years old kneeling and crawling on the ground, and the child on her body smiled happily, occasionally urging her to hurry up, with a look of disdain flashing across her face. For such an ignorant woman, a decent grandson could be raised and disabled by her. But she didn't want to say anything. From the bottom of her heart, she despises the sister-in-law. To be precise, she doesn't like any of the relatives in her husband's hometown. But it was also very annoying for the child to keep calling her like that. "Mother," Yu said, "sister-in-law, can we?" That's when the door was opened. A shortcut appears at the door. All three people in the room looked towards her. You are the big star, Jin Lee," Yu was the first to realize. Aunt Yu, who was still crawling on the ground, quickly got her grandson down, got up, and stood there awkwardly. A person like her naturally lacks confidence in front of a glamorous person like Jin Lee. "You, I remember you. You were also at Manluo's wedding," Aunt Yu shouted when she saw Jin Lee clearly. Jin Lee was too dazzling. Even though there were so many people in the banquet hall at that time, even though the protagonists were the couple, the place where Jin Lee, Lu Zhenjia and Su Hexiang were located still attracted a lot of attention. Good-looking people are always the focus of attention. Jin Lee didn't sober up at all, so naturally he didn't know these three people. She frowned and looked at the three of them. "Who are you?" "Mother," Yu didn't welcome her when she saw her. "We should be asking you the sentence, sister-in-law, why didn't you lock the door just now? Anyone can come in." When she saw Jin Lee push the door open and come in, she subconsciously thought that Aunt Yu hadn't closed the door properly. Aunt Yu retorted, "Where did I not close the door? I obviously locked it." "Mother," Yu countered, "you locked it, so tell me, how did she push it?" Listening to the two arguments, Jin Lee looked back at the door inexplicably, hooked her foot, and the door closed. "I opened this one myself. It's just such a thing." "How can I stop it?" Jin Lee said disgustedly. Yu's mother saw that she was not sober, and knew in her heart that she might be drunk. She was very upset right now, and she didn't want to coax a young lady. Especially knowing that Jin Lee and Yu Manluo have a good relationship, otherwise she would not have attended Yu Manluo's wedding. In this way, she looked at Jin Lee even more unkindly. "This is our room, please get out. Otherwise, I will call the hotel to drive people away." Jin Lee didn't recognize the old woman, but she could feel the hostility towards her. She gave a bah sound. "You think the little fairy wants to come? I'm sitting on the sofa well, and I'm about to soak in the water, when I suddenly smell a foul smell. It's you. She came here because of the stench." After arriving in this room, the stench disappeared, but she was sure that the stench came from these two people. Because right now, even though they can't smell that stench anymore, these two are full of malice, so don't even think about it. They must have done bad things in their past lives, full of bad deeds. The little fairy felt that these two guys must have come to do something bad. She glanced at the two of them, and pointed at Aunt Yu, "Say, What kind of bad idea are you guys here for? Mother Yu finally came to her senses at this moment, and said sarcastically, I thought I was really drunk and went wrong, so it turned out that I came here to find a place for that little bitch. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Koi Fairy Wife is Sweet as Honey, Love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhaji. Chapter 880. This kind of words made Jinli's ears irritated. She looked at Yu's mother unhappy. I'm asking her, did I let you talk? As her words fell, Yu's mother was horrified to find that she was really speechless. She opened her mouth in vain, opened and closed her mouth, but couldn't make a sound. She looked at Jinli in horror. The aunt of the Yu family naturally also saw this scene. She herself is a village woman who has no education or experience, and she is much more scared than Yu when she sees this scene. Yu, what kind of sorcery are you doing? Come on. Come on, she shouted. Jinli felt that this woman was too noisy. Shut up too. The aunt of the Yu family also found that she was also unable to make a sound. As for the child in her arms, she was probably frightened and stared at Jinli blankly. Jinli thought about it and felt that although the child looked a little crooked, he was only so old after all. Just don't scare him. She stretched out her hand and said, go to sleep. The aunt's grandson fell asleep. When he wakes up, he won't remember what just happened. But the eldest aunt of the Yu family didn't accept this kind of favor. All she saw was this unbelievably beautiful woman in front of her pointing at her grandson, and she didn't know what kind of magic she had cast, and her grandson passed out. It's worth it? She can't be some monster that sucks the spirit of children. Even if a woman is ignorant, her love for her children and grandchildren explodes, which is amazing. The auntie stared at Jinli. Her mouth was open to scold something, but she couldn't make a sound, so she raised her hand to arrest someone. How could Jinli be caught by her? She's getting impatient now. Certainly. A fixed body decision made both of them unable to move. Jinli asked impatiently, say, what are you doing here? As soon as she spoke this time, there was a peculiar rhythm in her tone, and the aunt of the Yu family found that she could speak. But what to say was beyond her control. She opened her mouth, slowly, and said word by word, my brother and sister told me that Yu Manlugo is living a very good life now, and has found a rich and powerful husband. Let me come with her to find Yu Manlugo Radish. I have raised her for so many years, and I can be considered her half-mother, and my siblings are her biological mothers. We all have a great kindness to her, and she should have repaid us. My younger brother and sister said that we don't have too many demands. If she leaks a little thing from her fingers, it is enough for us to live a good life. My Junjun will live in the city and go to school in the city to marry a wife and have children. I want Yu Manlugo to buy a house for my Junjun in the provincial capital. She babbled a lot, and Jinli was tired of listening, so she found a clean chair and sat down. Finally, she summed up what this woman said. She was instigated by her younger siblings and came to ask for money. Okay, you can shut up. She looked at Yu's mother lazily. Now, tell me. Mother Yu didn't want to say it. But she also couldn't control her mouth. My husband went in, my son died, and I have nothing to rely on for the rest of my life. Yu said mechanically, I am looking for Yu Manlugo because I really want to seek reconciliation. I found out that she is doing well now. The man is rich and powerful. In particular, her man is also an orphan. This kind of person should cherish family affection. If I can repair my relationship with her, I can live a peaceful life. The same comfortable and beautiful life as before. I can't stand this kind of hardship anymore. The Koi Fairy Wife is Sweet as Honey, Love from the Koi Goddess. Author, Su Xiaozhaji. Chapter 881. Really, Jinli sneered. She looked at Yu's mother. Why didn't I see your sincerity? Lu Zhenjie followed early. He didn't know why Jinli disappeared, and only after he found it did he find that she had found these two women. He thought for a while, then stood silently in the corner without speaking, watching Jinli interrogate the two quietly. Mother Yu replied, I know she hates me, and I hate her too. However, even if you hate each other, you can live together. I can bear it, I can pretend, as long as I can achieve my goal, I don't mind suffering. And, I am her mother after all, so be pitiful and miserable, come here a few times, and you will always achieve your goal. Jinli felt that this was a bit disgusting. I think you, woman, are dreaming, Jinli said. In fact, she didn't even know who Yu Manluo was right now, she just felt that what this woman said was disgusting. People who really have ideas and a strong temper can't accept you, give up. She looked at the two women who stood opposite and couldn't move, and looked at the two women who were not very friendly, and suddenly an evil idea came to her heart. Yu, she pointed at Yu's mother, tell me what you think of her in your heart. She is the eldest aunt of the Yu family. Mother Yu panicked. She really didn't want to speak, but there was a kind of need to speak, called Jinli wanted Yu to speak. Mother Yu gritted her teeth and said word by word, I've hated this woman for a long time. Aunt Yu's eyes widened. Mother Yu felt bad, but she still had to continue. She is rude, vulgar, has poor aesthetics, and bad hygiene habits. She speaks and acts vulgarly. Every time I came to my house before, I had to disinfect the house when she left. An old woman in the country, I still have to call her sister-in-law. I am really embarrassed, benevolent and disgusting. And her grandson, who was taught to speak foul language at a young age, was so dirty to death. She also showed off to me every day, saying that her grandson was smart and would definitely be able to pass the entrance exam to God's university in the future. Tisk, what a dream, I'm afraid that he will fail in high school. If you can't pass the exam, you'll be a rural gangster. If I hadn't asked her for help with some things now, I would never want to see her in my life. Jinli looked at the woman in amazement and talked for several minutes, and finally she got tired of listening. That's it, shut up. Mother Yu stopped talking. She looked at Jinli in horror, and then saw Aunt Yu's family, and she met the other party's angry and cannibalistic eyes. Jinli blinked and lifted the suffocation spell for the aunt of the Yu family. The aunt of the Yu family scolded as soon as she opened her mouth, Bah! White-eyed wolf! Slut! Shameless! You think of me like that in your heart? Where do you think you are noble? The hypocritical appearance in the country every new year, behind the scenes who doesn't talk about you? You still look down on me, and I still look down on you? You sent your husband to jail, and your son died of a serious illness, you are a disaster. Phew. If you hadn't come to beg me, I would have come here with you. I think the old lady is rude. What's the matter? When dealing with your son's funeral, don't look for rude people like us. After listening to her scolding for a while, Jinli felt that something was wrong with the room. Who's there? She asked. The void fluctuated for a while, and a figure appeared out of thin air. It was Lu Zhenjie, who had been here for a long time. Jinli's eyes lit up as soon as she saw him. She quickly stood up, leaned closer to him, took the beauty's hand, wrinkled her little nose and began to complain, It turned out to be you, why didn't you come out earlier? You don't know, these two people stink, my nose hurts from the smoke. 4 more. Goodbye by day. Ask for a monthly ticket.